Hello everyone, Victor is here, your organic chemistry tutor, and in this video I want to talk about acyl substitutions when we are going to be taking one carboxylic acid derivative and converting that into another carboxylic acid derivative. In my video on acid chlorides, I have introduced the idea of acid derivatives have different reactivity towards the nucleophiles, and I've mentioned that acid chlorides are the most electrophilic derivatives of the carboxylic acids. They are closely followed by the acid anhydrides, then we have esters, then we have our carboxylic acids, and then finally we have our amides as the least reactive towards any kind of nucleophiles. So when we are looking at all the derivatives of the carboxylic acids, one of the things that kind of jumps at me right away is that essentially we are going to be replacing one of those groups when we are going from one derivative to another derivative. And when it comes to the synthesis of the carboxylic acid derivatives, typically we are going to first make the carboxylic acid. Once we have our carboxylic acid, then we can convert it into the acid chloride, and from the acid chloride we can jump down onto any step of our reactivity ladder, whether we want to make an acid anhydride, ester, amide, you name it. And importantly here, if you look at the carboxylic acid derivative, you already know what type of a nucleophile or what type of a reagent you are going to need. So for instance, if I look at my acid chloride and I'm looking to make the carboxylic acid anhydride, well then in this case I need to add this part to my acid chloride, and I can do that in the form of either the neutral carboxylic acid, or it can be the corresponding carboxylate, which will bear a negative charge on the oxygen. Likewise, if let's say I wanted to convert my acid chloride into a corresponding ester, well, in this case I need to add this guy instead of my chlorine, which means that my nucleophile or my reagent here is going to be either the neutral alcohol or it's going to be an alkoxide with a negative charge on the oxygen atom again. So as you can see, when we are going down this reactivity ladder, we are just going to be essentially flip-flopping our chlorine with whatever nucleophile we want to be instead of that chlorine that essentially is our leaving group. So for instance, if now I for whatever reason want to go from the acid chloride to the carboxylic acid itself, well, in this case I'm going to use either water or hydroxide anion. And lastly, if I want to make an amide, I'm going to use the corresponding amine or maybe an amide anion. Now here is a really fun part about this scheme. I drew it as a ladder on purpose because it is really easy to go downstairs, but it is very difficult to go upstairs this reactivity ladder. So if I'm going to take my next carboxylic acid derivative, which in this case is going to be this acid anhydride, I can easily drop down to any lower step, but it will be comparatively difficult for me to go upstairs, which means that if I have my acid anhydride, I can take all the same reagents that I have for my acid chloride, and I can make an ester from the acid anhydride by reacting it with an alcohol, or I can make a carboxylic acid by reacting it with either water or hydroxide, or I can make an amide by reacting it with the corresponding amine. But there is no way I can go easily up back to my acid chloride. If I wanted to go back to the acid chloride, what I would have to do instead, I would take my anhydride, I would jump all the way down to the carboxylic acid, and then from carboxylic acid I would go to the acid chloride. So this means that if I wanted to start with the ester as my starting material, well, in this case I can just use the hydroxide or water to go down to the carboxylic acid, or I can use the corresponding amine to make an amide, but again, it is going to be exceptionally difficult to go up. So if from my ester I wanted to make an acid chloride or anhydride, I would first instead would have to make the carboxylic acid, and then from there go to the acid chloride and jump down to whatever step I need. So hopefully by now you can see how easy it is when we are dealing with the carboxylic acid derivative synthesis. We are going to make a carboxylic acid first, convert that carboxylic acid into the corresponding acid chloride, and from that acid chloride we can go down to whichever step we need to go to. Probably the only step up that we can do here easily is going to be going from the carboxylic acid to an ester via the reaction that we know as the Fischer esterification. Also, any carboxylic acid derivative can be converted into the carboxylic acid via the hydrolysis reaction, which means that technically we could go from the amide to carboxylic acid as well if we really wanted to. But other than that, the other important thing that you need to remember is how to make your carboxylic acids. We can make a carboxylic acid via the oxidation of a primary alcohol, or we can do it by hydrolyzing the nitrile, or we could also do it via the Grignard reaction by reacting Grignard reagent with the carbon dioxide and then doing the acidic workup. It is also possible to make an ester directly from a non-carboxylic acid source via the Baeyer-Villiger oxidation of the ketones, but that reaction is not a reliable way of making different derivatives because it does have certain limitations and it may or may not work depending on the nature of the molecule that you are trying to synthesize. So for as long as you remember this scheme over here, you can make any derivative of a carboxylic acid in your synthesis. But let me give you a couple of examples how that works. So, for instance, let's say we have the following synthesis in front of us and we need to make this amide over here from the starting material, which is a benzene. So when I'm doing my retrosynthetic analysis, the first thing that I'm always going to be paying attention to is what type of functional groups I have and if I have added any carbons to my molecule. Well, obviously we have added carbons to our molecule because we had to add this entire chunk to our benzene ring. But before that, I noticed that my functional group that I have here is an amide. So thinking back to the carboxylic acid derivative scheme that I have just shown you, how do I make amides? Well, normally we can make an amide easily from the acid chloride, and the acid chloride we can make from the carboxylic acid. And the carboxylic acid we can make via a bunch of different techniques. Since we are making the carboxylic acid by adding an extra carbon over here, I am going to make it via the Grignard reagent. So the Grignard reagent is of course going to be made from the corresponding halide, which we can easily make from our starting material benzene. So now when we have our retrosynthetic analysis in front of us, we can easily put all the bits and pieces together into our synthetic scheme. So we are going to start with a simple electrophilic aromatic substitution, simple halogenation, to put our bromine onto our aromatic ring. Then we are going to convert that bromide into the Grignard reagent with magnesium and treat that Grignard reagent with CO2, and then upon the acidic workup we are going to get our carboxylic acid. Then we will use SOCl2 thionyl chloride to make our acid chloride. And finally, we are going to use 2 equivalents of ethylamine to make our final product, our amide. Pretty simple, right? Now, how about this example? In this case, like in any other case of the retrosynthetic analysis, the very first thing that I want to do, I want to check the carbon count to make sure that I know if we are adding or if we are removing any carbons from our stem molecule. So here, if I number my molecule on the left, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 atoms in my starting material, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 atoms in my product, which means that we are in fact going to be adding an extra carbon over here, which means that whenever we are synthesizing this molecule, we need to come up with the method which will add the extra carbon when we are dealing with our carboxylic acid synthesis. So, continuing with my retrosynthetic analysis, I see that I have this extra carbon, and the ester that we are going to make in this case is most likely going to come either from the acid chloride, or, as I've mentioned a few moments ago here, we can make it via the Fischer esterification. So, continuing with my retrosynthetic analysis, I'm going to say that my ester is going to be coming from the carboxylic acid, which in turn should be coming from the corresponding bromide, because now if I have a bromide over here, I can make this carboxylic acid using either the nitrile method, or I can do the Grignard reaction, And from this point, the only bit that is left for us is to make our bromide, but that part is relatively easy. We can do it from our starting material. So the retrosynthetic analysis for something like this is going to be step number 1, is going to be reaction with HBr in the presence of peroxides. Then we are going to react our alkyl halide that we've got after the first step with magnesium to make the Grignard reagent, with the CO2 to make the carboxylate, then acidic workup to make our carboxylic acid. Alternatively, we can react it with sodium cyanide and hydrolyze that cyanide to carboxylic acid as well. Then our next step is going to be the Fischer esterification, or again, alternatively, we can do the reaction with SOCl2, converting our acid into the corresponding acid chloride, and then from there treat it with ethanol to make an ester. So for as long as you remember this scheme over here that I gave you a few moments ago, you will know how to deal with any synthesis relating to carboxylic acid and their derivatives. And of course, if you want to learn more organic chemistry, check out this video next, and I'll see you next time.